What is up, Watch Fam? My name is Sanjay, and I am the curator of this Watch Soup video broadcast. I have personally curated a really wonderful selection of videos for you guys tonight, and we're gonna enjoy it. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, that was super cringy.
I love the high energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you guys get the reference, or I was being Christian from Theo and Harris.
Oh gosh,
Okay, yeah, it was between a couple
Oh, did we lose Torin?
of them. Okay,
maybe
I'm
he's
here.
coming and going.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I should have worn a button-up shirt with the buttons undone to like the third button.
Or
No,
like a
no.
pink polo shirt or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've been watching the Theo and Harris. They do the white weekly news roundup kind of thing
Yeah.
recently, with Michael and Christian, and
Yep.
I've been really enjoying those. So I figured I'd do a play on that. But yeah, it's good to see you guys. Good to see you, Clayton and Torin. Everyone in the chat. It's really good to good to see you all. It was great seeing everyone last night. I think I've seen everyone here last night as well. So good. Welcome back. But Clayton, how are things going? What's on your wrist?
Doing well. Had a great day despite a heartbreaking loss by my Detroit Lions. It's nothing new. You know,
Yeah,
they've been rebuilding, and I'm almost 43 years old. My whole life. Today I had Black Bay 58 on a Bond NATO, a Mora Bond NATO.
nice.
First time ever taking it off the bracelet, and I really like it on straps. So I'm gonna wear it for the next few days and try it on different straps. So
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah,
thank
good
you,
combo.
thank you.
Yeah, very authentic. Um, yeah, because the
Yeah,
old sub and the
thought I'd
Bond
go
NATO.
a little Sean Connery action today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Torin, good to see you as well. How are things going? Did you have a good weekend? And what's on your wrist?
Yeah, things are going well. Thanks. Yeah, I was just doing some hiking with my brother earlier on the weekend,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
I'm wearing one of my faves.
Hey.
Let's
Oh
see if it
yeah.
focuses. Yeah, Grand Seiko SBGN 003.
Looks great.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, looks great on your wrist. I know it's a little smaller for you, but um, fits you like a glove. Looks great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's honestly one of my favorite watches.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's say hi to everyone in the chat.
What are you wearing?
Yeah, what are you
Oh
wearing?
yeah, sorry. I had a great weekend as well. I am wearing my Alpinist. So SJE 085, Corey's favorite. Sorry, Corey.
Oh yeah, that
Um,
was on your Instagram today too, right?
Yeah.
yeah. It tends to make an appearance on Sundays because I want to wear something dressy, and this thing on a black strap is probably the most dressiest watch I have. Like even more dressy than the SBGY 003. Kinda,
Really?
kinda. Because it's smaller.
Yeah,
It's all polished case.
I get it.
Very beautiful bubble crystal, and just feels more dressy. But it's close though. But yeah, saying hi to everyone from the chat. Chaz is first. Good to see you, Chaz. And there's Corey. Hey man, thumbnails are getting better. I'm channeling the inner Bobby Legs. Um, I can't beat him though. He's there's Bobby Legs. Good to see you. Um, I can't beat his thumbnails. The crab one is my favorite, where he had I think for the Ocean Crawler review or something, he had like 4 Bobby Legs faces on crabs or
Yeah,
something.
that
That
was
was
good.
my favorite. um, Good to see you, Clayton. How's it going? The other Clayton. Kevin, how's it going? Zhao's here as well. Good to see you. Peter. The thumbnail, yeah. That was actually so. My family and we went to a farmer's market, but they had like a petting zoo, and they had this giant pig. So we took a shot of that, and I thought, hey, this would be great for watch soup. So I took that picture that we took and threw my face in there, and to make it soupy, I did the whole vegetable thing. Bill, good to see you. Steve, how's it going? Good to see you. Um, let's see. Caliber YQG's here as well. Bruno, how's it going? Hey, Corey got it. So did Kevin. Oh man, it jumped. Barkin Harris. Hey James, good to see you. From the San Francisco Bay Area. Darren Lincoln. Greetings, good to see you. Ken Spear is here. And Eric, good to see you.
Oh yeah,
Wilson.
that kick, man. Oh, NFL record field goal kick, 66 yards, only against the Lions. The curse helped it through, the Lions curse.
Yeah, Chaz is commiserating.
Ugh.
Tough way to lose to the Lions. AP is here as well. Good to see AP. Craig, how's it going? Let's get this party started, says Kevin. Well, we will. PB, Paul, good to see you. Way, good to see you as well. Craig is wearing his Tokyo Seamaster. Very cool. All right, we caught
Nice
up.
one.
Good to see everyone. And thanks for sharing what you were wearing as well. If I missed anything, sorry about that. But so no real comments to speak of from last week. I didn't watch very many reviews. I did watch the You're Terrific review. That was the Rado ceramic square.
I love that watch. I watched that too.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Like
the yellow one.
The Over the Abyss one. That one was really wild.
Yeah.
You can't really tell what time it is, but
yeah,
it's interesting.
I would go for the yellow one probably, even though I do like the blue one better. But yeah, it has to be legible. That's just it's not.
I wouldn't go with either. I'd go with a regular True Square.
Yeah.
Those watches are really nice, and has to have a ceramic bracelet. Gotta have a ceramic bracelet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so because we didn't do many reviews, we're just gonna jump right into it, and we'll get started with the Hodinkee video. Hodinkee did another talking watches. They're kind of few and far between, so we kind of have to talk about it. This time it was a comedian named Ronny Chieng. Ronny Chieng. So I have my notes here. They went through his watches, and I believe it was his whole collection. I don't think usually there's like these guys are really crazy watch collectors, and they have a massive collection. They only showcase a few of them. Here I think they showed his whole collection, which is really interesting to see. But I'm gonna run through the watches that they showed. First was the Speedmaster First Omega in Space. Second was a Seiko 5, the first watch he got in college, first real watch that he got. Third was the Bruce Lee watches, the 6139, the non-Pogue versions, which apparently were worn by Bruce Lee. On number 4 were his dad's watches. So Rolex Datejust two-tone, which I thought was beautiful, and the Omega Seamaster dress watch. So I'm not sure exactly from when, but 80s or 70s maybe. Fifth was a Hulk, the Submariner. It was really cheesy connection that he did. We'll talk about it. But and sixth was a root beer GMT Master, an older one.
I think it was two-toned as well, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, two-tone root beer. Very, very cool watch. I think that was probably one of my favorites. But yeah, we can kind of talk about that really cheesy connection. Okay, so the reason why he got a Hulk was because it was a tie-in to the Marvel universe. So he got a small part in the Marvel movie. And the Rolex Hulk is a Marvel character, so he had to get the Rolex Submariner Hulk because that's the whole connection that he wanted to make with the movies. And then at the end, he said he kind of poked fun at the lies that you tell yourself to buy a watch, or the rationalizations that you have to make to.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't sound any more some I've done.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But it's good that he was self-aware enough to actually, say that this was a total lie that he was telling himself. But it was a really interesting Talking Watches episode. I found him really endearing. He's a guy who uses comedy a lot, and you could tell, like, when he was talking about his dad, it was a lot of pain there. Because he first mentioned, when they were going to talk about his dad's watches, he mentioned that he doesn't know if he's going to be able to finish talking about it without breaking down.
Hmm.
And then at the end, there was a bit of seriousness, and then at the end he said, yeah, and I'll sell it to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they held the camera on him for just long enough to see that smile, like, shrink, and you could see, like, the pain in his eyes. And I found that really endearing, that he would joke about something that heartbreaking, and that he was willing to try and alleviate an awkward situation and try to make someone else laugh, at his own expense. And I found that really, really nice. So I respect this guy so much because I saw that. And maybe I'm reading into it too much, but seemed like a really nice guy who doesn't want anyone to look into himself, but he wants to make others laugh.
Hmm.
So that was really interesting. But yeah, I'll throw it to you guys. Did you guys think of any of these watches that were super interesting? I know, Torin, you mentioned the root beer,
Yeah.
and what was the other one? The Datejust two tone. He called it like an old Chinese guy watch,
Yeah.
which is funny, because it's kind of like the old, just an old guy watch, because a lot of Southeast Asian, like, my nationality, um, that's kind of like the two tone Datejust is kind of like the thing as well, which is why I guess I like two tone as well. I like two tone a lot. Um, but yeah, so anyway, I'll throw it to you guys. Torin, if you want to kick it off, maybe if you have anything to say about this video.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I found myself like laughing out loud a few times because you're right. I think he kind of conveys a sense of seriousness, but then he breaks it up with, like, he cracks a joke, and I find it lands really well. And that's kind of how I approach things too. I tend to use, like, my sense of comedy, which is kind of like dry and not everyone appreciates, but like I try and do it to alleviate stressful situations at times.
Yeah.
So hopefully my girlfriend isn't watching, but no. The watch I really like the most, I was really drawn to the Seikos, especially the Bruce Lee watches. I thought it was cool. I didn't know about the link to Bruce Lee, and I thought it was kind of funny because he was saying, like, they're not 100% sure, but there's actually like a watch curator who, like, wrote up some article about it and helped him track down the specific watches. So he got those watches. And then at the end, I thought it was really funny because he's like, and then one day we're all just going to find out at one point Bruce Lee actually wore an Omega instead of like a Seiko. So
Yeah.
it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great. Clayton, thoughts?
Yeah, the video, this really connected with me and his sense of humor, because I use humor as a defense mechanism many times,
Yeah.
especially if I'm about to be sad and emotional and start crying. I will try to crack a joke, maybe
Yeah.
even self-deprecating. So I've definitely had a connection to him in that way. I also love the 6139, the Seiko Bruce Lee. Now they're AC Vintage. I go on there a lot. They drop new vintage watches. They routinely have both the Seiko 5 speed timer version and then just the non, more of the one that looks like a traditional poke. They have them both on that website right now, and I have come so close to buying them so many times. But again, I had a poke at one point, and I got rid for it. That's sort of my approach to vintage watches. But they're really cool. I just love the colorway. You description on the DC vintage, it goes into the Bruce Lee thing a little bit, Bruce Lee connection. But yeah, they're very cool watches. I really like these sort of more everyman type of, even though he does have some Rolex watches, I feel like he's a very relatable collector and just a person, and like the a lot of these are they're just rich guys who have expensive watches, and the watches that were a connection to his dad I loved, and just he had a Seiko 5 and these Seiko Bruce Lee watches. Yeah, just very relatable, and those are the talking watches I tend to love. There's a great one with a guy, Greg Selch, I believe his name is. That's one of my favorite of all time, because he's this wealthy guy, obviously, and he just has these the oddball out there. He actually has a Doxa Army, the original, that the Synchron military is, and he just
Wow.
those are the ones I like most of all.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it was really interesting, those Bruce Lee watches, especially the 6139. And Eric Strickland's here as well. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Um, and he is, I think, uh, very. I think his opinion is holds a lot of weight, because he's incredible collector.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so he was mentioning the link is pretty tenuous to Bruce Lee. Apparently the production dates don't line up with the purported photos, and I think there was that uncertainty even in the watches that he had. I think he
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
like you mentioned, they might find he was wearing some sort of Omega, and he's already bought a second Bruce Lee watch because the first one didn't pan out, didn't turn out to be legitimate. So yeah, interesting overall video. I think it was a very good episode of talking time. That's the right
Talking watches.
Talk
talking
watches.
watches. I was like, man, that doesn't sound right. um, yeah, so let's keep going, because we've got quite a bit to talk about. A couple more videos. Um, we will move on to yeah. Let's talk about this one. Federico Talks Watches episode, where he was talking about his previous job in the Swiss watch industry. So Federico, before he started Del Rey Watch, before he started his YouTube channel, he worked in retail. So he was going through this in his video. He was working in retail at Vempa, I think, as an authorized a dealer or sales associate in an authorized dealer. And then he got the job as a sales manager, or what do you call it? Wholesale sales manager at Piaget. And so I think Piaget is owned by Richemont, if I'm not.
Richemont.
Yeah,
Likely,
yeah.
yeah.
So he became this retail wholesale, or wholesale sales manager, and he thought this was his dream job. He was going to get to travel to a lot of places: North America, Canada, US, train a lot of people, get to wine and dine and stuff like that, and just run the North American wing of Piaget. So the sales, talk to iddies. He mentioned he would train staff, open new authorized dealers. He would close underperforming authorized dealers, and do all that kind of stuff. And he mentioned a couple of negatives as he went through that. He was talking about how in that industry, in that position, the watches didn't matter. He even said it could be a potato, as long as if he met the sales goals, that's what mattered. It didn't matter if it was a watch or potato, or whatever else. Insert commodity here. Um, and he was a watch guy, and this was kind of eating away at him. The other thing was that he was changing numbers. He was messing with the numbers to meet his sales goals. So, and some of the stuff that he did was that he would ship product to authorized dealers that they did not place an order for. So he would, if he needed to hit his sales quota, and he needed $400,000 of sales at wholesale price still to go through, he would just ship $400,000 worth of watches to an authorized dealer, and he would meet his goal. The authorized dealers most of the time didn't even notice, because they're dealing with 40 other brands, and they just pay the invoice that they received. And he also mentioned that, you know, once he sent those watches, all he's got the invoice. All that matters is that invoice. It doesn't matter if they get the money or not, because that's a whole other department. The finance department and the sales department are completely different. So that's how this kind of worked itself through. And yeah, when if an authorized dealer inquired about it, if they said, "Hey, what's going on? Why'd you ship me these watches?" He would say, "Hey, don't worry about it. Just don't pay it. You know, don't pay that bill. Just try to sell those watches, and you know, we'll figure it out." Basically, is what he said, which is, you know, easy for a salesman to say. um, and yeah, so he said he quit when the sales targets became unreasonable. So I think he had to sell 600 pieces of one watch in 1 year, a brand new watch, which was impossible. He said he was gaining a lot of weight, he was losing a lot of hair, and he quit at that point and started up his YouTube channel and eventually Delray Watch. So very, very crazy story, very interesting things to admit to doing. And this is interesting to hear from another perspective, because I kind of see this a similar thing in the field that I work in. Uh, you know, because the field that I work in, the sales and finances are different as well, and you often get customers calling us with prices that they were given, and we'd be like, that's not right. And they were like, oh yeah, no, we were told that we can pay later, and then they wouldn't pay. They refused to pay. And you know, stuff like this is happens in many industries. But it was interesting to get a firsthand look at another industry where this happened too. But yeah, that was the whole story. Did you guys have any thoughts on this? It was insane, an insane story to talk about. And yeah, I'll let you go, Clayton. If you have any thoughts on the morality or the ethical soundness of this whole matter, it's yeah, interesting.
I was shocked at his honesty that he's admitting that on video.
Yeah,
Maybe in a private conversation, but yeah, holy smokes, I was surprised at that. And just the whole like the fudging of the numbers, like you talked, uh, or these you know, authorized dealers, 400K watch, you know, and just without them asking for it. I just found that odd. But the other thing that related to me is, you know, stress at a job can really manifest itself physically. um,
yeah,
it certainly can. I've gone through that, and you know, and he started his own thing, and I did that too. So a reminder to me, like I remember being in that position and just, you know, how it can just have a whole you know, effect on your well-being when you get out of it and you do something else, and that's scary to do also, but it's a different kind of scary. You believe in yourself, and there aren't these other maybe moral dilemmas going on.
yeah,
So yeah, it's I could relate to that part of it, and I was really again surprised at how honest he was.
yeah, yeah. Very interesting. Torin?
Yeah, I was surprised and disheartened. I, I thought it was interesting because at the end he also mentioned like this just isn't Piaget. This is like this could be rampant in essentially any North American authorized dealer that has like their Swiss overlords or something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So to me, like that kind of hurt a little because it does give you that insight, and it's not just like isolated. It likely happens, you know, more frequently to many authorized dealers in North America, really. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to relate to it, and like in my industry, for example, like shortly after my graduate school, I went, you know, I did a lot of like research and, you know, focus on science and stuff, but I did science sales for a little bit outside of grad school. And just morally, yeah, it was so hard for me to stomach. Like I couldn't do it. I think it takes a certain type of person to do it. And I'm not judging that person whatsoever. Like if they're good at it, that's amazing. But for me, it's like, yeah, I could relate to feeling stressed about it because like when I was doing that, and I think I did it for 3 weeks before I quit.
Right.
Um, it was really stressful, and the numbers just keep getting to you. Like that's all you're worried about, right? Like just meeting your quota. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very surprised how candid Federico was, and I think for him it was a good stepping stone for him opening up, Delray Watch, and now he gets to focus on more of the aspects he enjoys, which is like customer service and things. I mean, the numbers are still important, like he mentions, but it's
Yeah. He gets
you're
to do it on his own terms, he said. So
on his own
yeah.
terms, gets his own watches, like curates his own watches that he likes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, really, really surprising video. I mean, I don't know if that's going to come back and bite him later, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Could.
because his colleagues are presumably still in that industry, right?
Yeah. Well, he
Doing
called
the
out who was his manager at the time or something
Mentor.
like that.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man,
So,
yeah, I didn't think of
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's scary. I mean, he's in like a stable, like presumably his business is stable. He probably doesn't have to keep those bridges up. Not that he directly called them out and called them crooks, right? But still, yeah, it could probably make quite a few people upset, rubbed in the wrong way. Yeah, crazy.
It's
Um,
always weird to get into something you're really passionate about but from the business and be like me, who I love interacting with dogs and being with dogs every day, instead working for like the marketing department of a, I don't know, pet food firm or something. You're involved in the pet industry, but not the way to be. That's how I'd rather be like, and I think he's more hands-on with the watches now. He still
yeah,
deals, obviously, like you said, with the sales part, but he gets to actually interact with the watches, and I think that's what he really loves.
yeah, and that's a good point because he mentioned that was like one of his points in his lead up to the whole story was that the watches were kind of secondary.
Hmm.
It was money was the goal, he said, and the watches didn't matter. It could have been anything else. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was
and the
probably
sales goals he was saying were crazy, right? Like, didn't he say like 2 million a month or something?
was it a month?
Was it a month or a year? It must have
Oh,
been
okay.
I don't know what it was.
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
it was a year because like that sales goal is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Even at a year, 2 million at
For
wholesale prices. Not
Piaget, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Wholesale prices. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and yet he has fond enough memories of working at Piaget that he bought that awful watch, the Piaget Polo Sport, or was it something or other?
Yeah.
Oh man, it was hard to look at. But hey, if he's happy, that's great. Um, yeah, let's jump into the chat here. Uh, hey, Mark, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Federico, Kevin saying cut carbs. My man is dropping serious weight. Good on Fed. Nefarian, hey man, good to see you. Chasing Fed is salty because of carb deprivation. Paul also giving Fed kudos about his weight loss. Yeah, he's
Pretty
looking good.
drastic. Yep.
Yeah, he's looking really good. Um, let's see. Oh man, keeps jumping on me. Units shipped says stream stuff. He's always raises red flags in sales reports. Yeah, for sure. The game that dealers work with only shows that the whole thing is ridiculous. Yeah, which is why a whole bunch of them end up in the gray market.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah.
Nefarian says Piaget is so expensive. I'd like to see that one where the clasp is on the watch case in person, not on a topic or anything. There's a clasp on the watch case. This is like the movement, like the ultra thin altoplano. That one's really cool. The Piaget altoplano, because the like the movement's built onto the dial, or there's no dial. It's just the movement, and the hands are on the movement, and
Oh, jeez.
it's like wafer thin. It's crazy. Altiplano concept something or other.
To be honest, I don't really know anything about the brand. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Me neither.
Oh man, we got to take a look at this. Okay. All right. Piaget Altiplano.
like, is there a big discrepancy like retail versus what you can get gray market on them?
Yeah, I don't know that. I'm pretty sure there has to be, but I'm not sure what the numbers are like. It would probably be considered a toxic purchase if you got a Piaget at retail. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so this is it. Like, I mean, this is a mechanical watch right here.
Holy
Uh,
crap! It's like a wafer.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
So everything. This is just the back plate of the movement.
Wow.
So you got everything is kind of
Huh.
etched into the. Whoops. Sorry.
It's like as
Everything's
thin as
kind
a
of etched in the
coin.
movement. Yeah. It's insane. It's just absolutely insane. Really cool. Really cool watch.
I mean, I like the layout of the dial, or the like, not the dial, but I guess however they did it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Farron saying surprised at his candor. Fed admits to a felony and wire fraud.
That's his next video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sales is high pressure if you want to make the dollars. Yeah. Piagets are nice, but their case sizes have gotten too large to be fancy dress watches. Yep. Hey, Watch Cardinal, good to see you. Thanks, man, for the upvote. Very kind. Justin says it all seems like a house of cards. Absolutely. It's crazy. Piaget ultra thin is some engineering. Yep. Let's see. Federico's video was not surprising. I work in publishing where fudging sales numbers is commonplace. Wow. Yeah. Do those admissions make you trust Fed less as a dealer? Oh, that's a good question.
Maybe more, actually.
Trust him more? Yeah.
I feel like he's a pretty stand-up, honest guy. Well,
yeah,
based on take away what we heard in this video.
I'd say it does make me trust him more, although I've heard I wouldn't want to deal with him.
Yeah.
I've heard he's like he's not
shrewd,
as customer friendly. You know,
okay.
he'll like if you're a jerk or an idiot, he'll call you that even if you're his customer. Kind of like that, you know. That's what I've heard. Like he's very very direct. You know.
That's probably true.
I've worked with someone who is kind of like that as well, and it's very refreshing in a sense, you know, because everyone bends over backwards to please the customer, and you know, at great loss, at you know, just to avoid problems, they'll just give away the farm, as we say, to please the customer. So when you meet someone who's willing to stand up to a customer who's being unreasonable, it's really refreshing.
Yep.
But yeah, just a little scared of him, you know. I'm a little nervous.
In my business, my customers are essentially my bosses because I take out their dogs and things, and I've had to cut bait with a few. Dog people can be a little extreme sometimes and a little unreasonable. World. Yeah, it's a dog eat dog world. Very good.
There's that dry humor.
Yep, there it is. I love it. Well placed. Yep. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to cut bait with customers, and no matter what it means, because it's toxic and unhealthy, and it's they're just unreasonable sometimes. You do it in a tactful way, but I'm sure, you know, and I don't know if he's always so tactful. I mean, he's called out customers some videos before and called them some kind of nasty things. So.
Yeah, like the one where he spoke about the customer who cursed at his staff.
Yeah,
like was being very unreasonable because of a mistake on the listing. They offered a refund, but you know, the customer is being very rude and disrespectful, and he just said, "I'm not selling you this watch. You can go fly a kite," but in other words. Yeah. So I mean, it's really refreshing to see that. Like a man that'll stand behind his beliefs. So yeah. Wilson saying it just means he was terrible at his job. Piaget. That's funny. Um, Justin says, still trust Fed as a dealer. Shows how ridiculous the industry is at the corporate level. Paul was saying, this is sales. It's not only watches. I ran a new car internet department. Yes, we are awful, and laughed about it.
Is that a problem from up above that people are forced to be a little devious to meet these goals? Is it a problem above that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it is.
yeah,
And if he tried to stand up to that, he would have lost his
yeah.
job. He would have lost his bonus. His boss would have lost his bonus, and he was probably under an immense amount of pressure. Um, it's easy for it's easy for us. It's easy for me to sit here and say I wouldn't do that, but I'm not in that situation. I know for a fact I wouldn't do that. I'd hand in my resignation, but it's easy for me to say that because I'm not there. But yeah, I'm no judgment on him from me though. Paul saying out of sales. No, I don't trust salespeople. That's funny. Let's see. Time is money. You buy or die. Pierre, good to see you. He's not a very nice man. He's very direct, hiding behind my time is too valuable. I've heard someone say that he used that terminology on him when they were talking about selling a watch to him. He pulled back his offer because the guy took too long to respond back, and said my time is too valuable to deal with you. So that's kind of why I'm a little nervous of Fed. But he seems like a nice guy, just to hang out with maybe.
I've emailed him a couple about potentially selling them a watch
Yeah.
or doing a trade, and he was always the emails were cordial. It didn't work out, but I never got a
Okay.
sense that he was being nasty or anything. Pretty
Yeah.
cordial.
Okay, that's good. That's good to hear. Pale Horse, good to see you. James says, I do not like how the record-breaking ultra thins require separate winding tools. Such an inelegant solution. Yeah. All right. So let's keep rolling on. Sorry, I had to skip quite a few comments there, guys. I hate doing that. I like
Your
reading
time is too
everyone.
valuable.
Yeah. Hey, time is money, guys.
Torrens on a roll.
I'm gonna roll, man.
Go fly kite. No, I don't mean that. Yeah. Clayton, do you want to talk about the Antiques Roadshow Rolex
Oh
effect?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let me get to my notes here. So, uh, Antiques Roadshow. It's a show on PBS. Do you get it in Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Well, we get PBS, so like
Okay.
we won't. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a show where basically people bring antiques in around several different appraised. So this is actually technically on their detour form as well, and that's where I first discovered it. So I thought it was interesting to talk about. It's called the Rolex Effect. So the producers start out talking about how the two most viewed uh, Antiques Roadshow videos on YouTube are both watch videos, and they're both Rolex appraisals. Um, the one that's second place of all time is probably the most famous, and that's the longer haired gentleman who had his Daytona appraised that he picked up when he was in the military, and he faints. He's called the falling down guy. He
Yeah.
faints. That's actually the second most popular at 9 million views. The first is, and I used to work with senior citizens, so I love this guy. Paul, he's an old man who bought his Rolex GMT Master in 1960. He was also in the military. And, Antiques Roadshow was in town, so he thought it'd be kind of neat to bring it and see what it was worth. He thought it might be worth like $1,500. Again, he had no idea. He bought it for a couple $100 in 1960. He was told that because he saved all the box and papers and everything, he was told that it would be about $65,000 to $75,000. And he says in this that, you know, if they would have told him 1,500, he would have believed them and been really happy.
Yeah.
So imagine. So then, so they're just talking about, the producers are talking about watch collectors and kind of how obsessive and how crazy we are, and why is that? You know, not only Rolex but all watches. And then they talk to their resident sort of guy who appraises the watches, Peter Plains, and he talks a brief history about Rolex. You know, what we've all heard before, and how you used to be able to get them very inexpensively, especially the Newman Daytona. It was not a popular model at all when it came out, and now we all know what it is. Um, and then one of the reasons I initially sent this to Sanjay was because his boy Evan, You're Terrific, was actually interviewed for this. So they actually went. The producers went on Reddit to look at, you know, what their what these videos are, what people are saying about their videos on Reddit, and they found Evan, You're Terrific, who had posted this video. So they do an interview with him. And he talked about how he got into watches. He wanted to get a smartwatch, so he actually practiced to see if he'd like wearing a watch with just, you know, more traditional timepieces. And he liked that so much that he never went to smartwatches. He went with mechanical watches. Um, and the interview, Adam Monahan, the interviewer who was the producer of Antiques Roadshow, he was just fascinated by this world of YouTube watch reviews, and really, you know, You're Terrific. He talked about Evan's Explorer that he got for his 40th birthday party, and he was really captivated by Evan's videos. And they talk more to Evan about how he thinks everybody should have a crazy hobby, an embarrassing hobby. He
Yeah.
thinks that makes you infinitely more interesting if you kind of have an embarrassing hobby. Um, it requires an investment in, you know, not only money but also time. We're talking about watches, and most people in our lives think it's crazy, right? All the time we spend, at least peculiar, but you know, that's what makes us love this hobby, and that's why we're all here together on a Sunday night talking about this stuff, because we
Yeah.
have made that investment. We're all together.
Yeah.
So Evan loves that part of it. They actually do a little digging on Reddit to see like the popularity of watches, and based on the number of posts, it's like right under guitars in popular, or right above guitars, but under cats in popularity. There's like, I don't know. I'm not on Reddit, so I don't know what those numbers mean, but like 1.5 million posts, I think, about watches, which is just under cats but above guitars. And Evan said that he was in Australia and he went to a watch shop, and his voice was recognized in the watch shop based on his YouTube reviews, because obviously he doesn't show his face in the videos. I believe it's on his thumbnail, but anyway. And then so they talked to Paul again, the guy who has the most popular video, who had his GMT appraised. And, you know, I think one of the things that's most charming about that is that he did have no idea what it's worth. He appreciated the watch for what it was. And Evan was really charmed by that. He said, you know, more people should be appreciating watches for the craftsmanship and, you know, the engineering, instead of how much cash they can get you. And that's basically where they end it. So it's really just if you have a half an hour, it's in podcast form too. Check it out. It's a really, just kind of a really sweet story.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I
Great.
went on way too long there. Sorry.
No, no, no. Very detailed. I really enjoyed that.
Good
Um,
synopsis.
yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. You're our guy when we need cliff notes. um, yeah, I really enjoyed that episode as well, and thank you, huge thank you, Clayton, for sending that my way. I would never have seen that. Um, but yeah, I found it interesting that Evan was there. Um, it was
Yeah.
weird to hear his voice when he was interviewed.
And having normal conversation instead of like the way he delivers his videos. Yeah, I found that
Yeah,
odd. Just kind of.
yeah, instead of like the really dry,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, monotone humor, he was it's a different personality almost. Um, but yeah, were really great video, very interesting. It was funny how there was one person that in their team who's so sick of Rolexes,
Oh yeah.
Oh, right.
that that she said, "Oh, don't even don't even, oh yeah, Rolex, whatever,
I was
Rolex."
annoyed by by her. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if that's what she gets calls about all day, every
Yeah,
day,
I guess.
it probably does wear on her.
I was
But
insulted as a watch enthusiast, not like a Rolex person, just as
right.
a watch enthusiast, because she sort of denigrated watches in general.
Yeah,
I
because he
think.
said, yeah,
Yeah,
she said they're just watches thing.
yeah. I
Don't say
know.
that don't
They
say
just
that
have
to Pete.
hands and bands, and I was like infuriated. No.
Yeah, yeah, that's not something you say to Pete from Not So Obvious Watches.
Exactly. Oh God.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
found out the hard way.
yeah, yeah. It was yeah, it was a great video. I enjoyed it. Something else I wanted to talk about, but
I have
it's
one more
evading.
thing, if I could,
Yeah, yeah,
on
of
that.
course.
So they just said in context, because they have a lot of videos out on YouTube. They put a lot of their episodes out on YouTube. So they said the top two, like I said, the top one has 10 million views. The second place, which is also watches, has 9 million, and then
Okay.
third place has 4 million views. So quite the disparity in views among their top. So yeah, I mean, watches are huge, and even
Yeah,
they're picking up on it and doing an episode on it. So I thought
yeah.
that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I remember what I was gonna say because the guy. It was a shame that they couldn't get the falling down guy on the phone.
Hmm.
It would have been interesting to hear what he thought if he sold a watch, because the GMT Master guy did not sell the watch. He said
Yeah,
that they went home, grabbed the watch, put it in a safety deposit box, took it out of their house,
and
and he
his
was
wife, his daughter gets it when he passes.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He said he would not wear that again.
So I have an
So
interesting. I did some digging. I have an interesting tidbit on. So the falling down guy with the Daytona.
yeah,
Our friend Paul Thorpe actually did a whole video on that last year, calling BS
he
on
did.
all that. Yep.
I remember
Really?
that.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, because
It's
yeah,
interesting.
because it was like at the height of the publicity of this video, and I remember Paul Thorpe putting out a video and calling out, kind of analyzing that video, calling it out. It's been a while since I watched that, but yeah,
He
he did do
challenged
that.
that it was new old stock because then he pointed out like the wear marks, and I think he was probably right. Definitely looked like it had been worn.
Yeah,
Even for an older watch, it definitely had some looked like it had been worn. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I remember that. Yep. Torrin, got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I did listen to the podcast, so thanks
Yeah,
for sending it my way, Clayton. Yeah, and I did enjoy hearing You're Terrific or Evan. I find his voice like he has like a very signature and epic voice. And to
hmm
me, I don't know. It sounds like you guys might disagree, but I thought to me it almost sounds like he was in character. Like I don't know, just like the way he sounded on that sounds like his YouTube videos to a certain extent for me. I don't know
okay,
if you
yeah.
agree with that, but um,
I
yeah,
can I can see that. Like when he talked about being an interesting person, like the
yeah,
embarrassing
or like having
hobby.
crazy
Yeah.
hobbies, right? Or like
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's like the basic thing to being just an interesting person. Like you're a boring person if you have a weird hobby, embarrassing hobby, you're interesting. That's totally something he would say on his YouTube channel.
Yep.
So I see that. Sorry, Torin.
yeah, and then I don't really have too much else to contribute other than I do remember like I did watch a lot of Antiques Roadshow growing up, and there was another episode I think where I don't know if Clayton if you would remember. There was a woman who brought in a bunch of gold watches, and she didn't realize what they were, but they were like Patek Philippe's and like Audemars Piguet's, and I think a Ulysse Nardin or something like that from like her estate.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was a kind of a cool video. I mean, they didn't evaluate it like super crazy, but it was just interesting because like, she basically had the holy trinity of like probably had Vacheron in there too. And like
They were her
really
dad's watches, right?
yeah, her dad's
Yeah.
watches. And then I think she said like somebody tried to buy like the bulk off her for like $10,000 or like something. And they're like, you're probably good thing you didn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that too, yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's weird that they didn't bring that one up.
It probably doesn't have as many views. I don't think it was as popular because like Rolex had the brand recognition.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think
Good
like
point.
non-watch enthusiasts wouldn't really pick up on those either.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's jump into the chat again. Let's see. Whoa. Yeah, I was not prepared. Sorry, guys. Chad's asking an interesting question. Do people do yard sales in Canada? We do. We totally do. Nefarian saying too much snow. It's just garage sales. Watch Cardinal is wearing his BLNR Batgirl. 12, 6, 7, 10. It's Batman, Batgirl. Whatever. A lot of interesting people here tonight. Pure as life. Good to meet you. Good to see you. Above guitars and undercats.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, accurate. Justin, they talked to a man named Paul Pluto. That would, I would pay money to hear that. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, you're terrific. Makes amazing reviews. Says Nefarian. Falling Down like Michael Douglas.
Great movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I like
Was
that.
it? Okay. Don't even know who Michael Douglas is. Is that the Apocalypse Now villain? Was that Michael Douglas?
No, that's Marlon Brando.
Oh, okay. Close
Yeah.
enough.
Starts with M.
Yeah. And B is close to D. So. What was that? Do you guys know the ejector seat? Like the Bremont has a huge deal with them. Martin Baker. Anyway, off on a tangent there. Dave's here. Good to see you, Dave.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Because
joining
we're
us.
talking about his video.
Yeah. Hey.
Also,
Leave it.
Dave, if you're here, check your PayPal. I just bought one of your T-shirts.
Oh, nice.
Oh, excellent.
Support the
Great
channel.
stuff.
I do love that shirt he was wearing in the video.
Yeah. Martin Baker. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Martin Baker. So Michael Douglas, Marlon Brando, Martin Baker. This is actually not a GS t-shirt. This is the national Netherlands football team, soccer team. They have this lion, which I guess is kind of similar to the GS lion.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. So I bought it at Sport Check. If you guys have a Sport Check. Dave saying his ears were burning. he sensed a disturbance in as well.
Justin.
Oh, that's that comment.
I think Iron Maiden vocalist Bruce Dickinson claims he got cancer in a similar way. We'll end it there.
All right. Well, let's move on to Dave's video. Dave joined in right on time to chat about 5 dumb reasons he almost passed up on awesome watches, and I have a couple of my dumb reasons as well. But it was a great video, Dave. We really enjoyed it. I know I did. And I'm gonna go through his reasons super quick and talk about the watches that converted him from that reason, out of that reason. At least I think I have a couple here. First one was the watch is too small. So Dave has a fairly large wrist, a 7.5-inch wrist, he said. And for him, the ideal watch has to be, or the minimum size for a tool watch has to be 42 millimeters, and a dress watch has to be 40 millimeters. So he passed up on quite a few smaller tool watches, smaller dress watches. He showcases a smaller dress watch. I'm not sure if you mentioned a specific watch here. He did mention a couple, like the Richard Legrand 39 millimeter. There was the Zelos Swordfish, I think.
No, it wasn't the Swordfish.
No? Okay.
I think it was the Horizon or something like that.
Yeah, it was a Horizon, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so a smaller Zelos model that changed him from this thing. And he mentioned something very accurately as well, that a smaller watch is way more comfortable to wear than a 45 millimeter watch, or something that has a huge lug to lug. And it's also more mature. It's more understated to wear a smaller watch, and so you're not looking for. It doesn't look like you're looking for attention. There's a bit more of a mature personality that comes out when you're willing to wear that smaller watch. And those watches look great on his wrist. I really like the
Yeah.
way the Richard Legrand looked on his wrist. Oh man, that was beautiful. Second point was watches with older movements, so ones that don't hack or hand wind. 7S26 was one of them. He said the main reason was because it made the watch feel cheap, and that he had to go through these additional, do the shake was something that was kind of a lesser or less ideal situation. And the thing that converted him from making it okay was a Laco Casablanca. I had never heard of this watch before, but really nice. It looks like a PVD or DLC coated watch with a cream dial, Arabic numerals. Interesting pilot's watch. It did not look like a 42 millimeter, but apparently it's a 42 mil watch. It did not look that big. So
And
Dave,
I'm not sure if it's also fully loomed or if Laco has a different dial variation that's also fully loomed.
okay,
They
that
do
would be
have
cool.
fully loomed pilots watches. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
checked one out before, and I couldn't tell if that one he can answer us. Yeah, I was
yeah.
thinking the same thing, Torin. I wonder if that's
Yeah, because it looked like a cream dial, and it could totally have been a fully loomed dial. So
Mm.
that'll be interesting. Because the numerals, the Arabic numerals, were black, and
Yeah, they were
that's
blacked
kind of
out.
like a
yeah.
kind of like a loom dial trait, right? Personality.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
there you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fully loomed. That's so cool. That is really cool. um, but yeah, so these watches with older movements, not hacking, non-hand winding, was something. So he had passed up on watches because of that. I don't blame him. I've done that as well. Um, third point was watches with rubber straps, and I totally get this. I think I still have this issue. I can't stand rubber straps.
Really?
um, but I know, sorry, Torrin, I know you love
I
rubber
love them.
straps.
I
Yeah,
love them.
uh, and
I like them
no,
better than bracelets.
I admire rubber straps. I really like seeing tropic straps, but oof, it does have a cheap feeling, and when you get like a super luxury brand and it comes on a rubber strap, like the Omega Aquaterra that you had, Torn, it just makes me
I
feel
like that rubber.
yeah, it's nice,
I mean,
but it doesn't give me
especially
the
compared to the Aquaterra bracelet. I hate the clasp on the Aquaterra bracelet.
yeah, that's true. But you gotta finish it, you gotta machine it, and you only pay like what, $400 more.
Yeah, yeah.
That actually is a lot of money. Anyway, yeah, so he felt like rubber straps was another aspect where the watch felt cheap because of a rubber strap. The thing that converted him from this belief was the Seiko Samurai. So he bought the Samurai specifically to take it off the rubber strap and to put it on a strap code bracelet. I think a Super Jubilee, he said. But he really liked the rubber strap, and he put it on a couple of other rubber straps. And there was like the waffle strap. I actually really like the waffle strap.
Hmm.
Those are really nice. But yeah, and he was changed. He was a changed person after that. So I don't quite get that yet, but I can understand. Next one was closed case backs. Um, he mentioned automatic movements are and were and are super cool, but and the priority or the need to see that movement was super high at first, and I can totally relate to this as well. But as he saw more and more of the movement, especially movements that are like NH35 Seiko basic movements that you see over and over again, the need to see that movement diminished. And it was actually a positive to see a nice embossed or engraved case back, and it also allows for the watch to be a little thinner. So he used to pass up watches because they didn't have see-through case backs, which I've done as well. But now it doesn't matter so much, and I don't think there was any specific watch when it came to this one. And the last one was watches with acrylic crystals. So the watch here of course, acrylic crystal with the damage. I think, and the scratches. It's not a hardy material, and it's going to take some damage. But he mentioned you can easily buff that out with polywatch. I'd say don't buy polywatch. Buy a headlight restorer, or what I use is Mcguire's car polish. Has very slight abrasive. It's in a black bottle, and it's huge. It's a huge black bottle. It'll last you forever, and does a better job.
I remember you saying
Good
that
tip.
before. I remember
Yeah.
you saying that. Yeah.
I have a bottle there. I have a few bottles there. So that's actually a waterless car wash that I use to clean my watches, um, which is does a better job than just soap and water.
Hmm.
And behind that is my Mcguire's car polish. It's not a wax, so don't use wax to buff out scratches, because wax is just a layer that goes over. Way off on a tangent here, but you have to find an actual polish with abrasive particles.
Can
And
you hold it up for everyone to see?
I have it in a different bottle. So I used to buy them by the
Okay.
gallon, because I used to be a car detailer,
Wow.
and I put them in little squirt bottles. So I don't have the actual bottle, but
Okay, look, Dave's selling T-shirts. You need to bottle that and sell it as like acrylic watch restore.
yeah, I should totally do that. I
And
shouldn't have
spring
given you-
bars.
Hey, I should
Yeah.
have marketed that waterless car wash thing. So bought a few gallons of that stuff, packed it in like a bottle this big with a little spray on top, and
Yeah.
said, "This is the miracle watch cleaner," and and sold it that way. That's what I should have done, but I didn't. But here,
You're
let me
still
show you
After
time.
the.
this show, man, we're going in business.
Yeah, I'm taking investments. So if you guys want to get in on the ground floor, uh, here, hang on. Let me show you this thing. So it's not the compound. Compound is too abrasive. Don't use this stuff. This is far too abrasive. It'll leave holograms on your dial, on your crystal. There's a black version, and it is called polish, or M101 if you're buying it by the gallon. So this stuff. This is the good stuff, and you get a lot of it for not a lot of money.
Hmm.
Not that polywatch is expensive anyway, but yeah, the more you know, right?
Get a bottle that big, that means you just need to buy more watches.
Yeah.
Another rationalization.
Okay, so those were the 5. And he mentioned Speedmaster has an acrylic crystal because you don't want that sapphire to break in space. You'll have shards of glass all over the place, while sapphire would just crack. And yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So, do you guys have any thoughts before I add a couple of my silly reasons for passing up on great watches? Clayton?
Yeah, I remember when I first got into watches, I was hung up on size. I just looking at other people's watches, and they were all very big. So I felt like I need to wear bigger watches because I was drawn to some smaller watches, but man, everyone I saw had these, massive watches on, and I didn't even look at brand or anything. I was just more focused on size. But yeah, I like what I like, and I have a few big chunky dive watches that I really like, and I have some smaller watches too. So less hung up on that for sure. The hacking, I still prefer a hack movement.
Yeah.
I actually got rid of a Laco Aachen mainly because I was just disappointed that it didn't hack. That's their
Yeah,
42
me too.
millimeter. Yeah, that's still if I'm paying $400 or $500 for a watch, it should hack in my
Now they
opinion.
did update them supposedly. It's a similar
Okay,
Miyota 800 series movement or whatever, but it can hack now.
the
Apparently.
821A maybe or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one gets me. I like and Pete just did a video yesterday about how he's glad he does not like bracelets. He's glad he doesn't like bracelets. I like both. I like except NATO's. I'm wearing one tonight, but they're not my favorite. But I really like bracelets and rubber straps. And I got the SLA 043. that came with an expensive watch that comes with a silicone or strap, waffle strap. Comes with two.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want that watch on bracelet. I don't think. I think Seiko divers really look best on rubber straps, for the most
And
part.
you got the 53 SLA 053.
Yeah, that also, and now they have the burgundy one that's going to come with both. But
Yeah.
I owned the SLA 023. That watch for my wrist is way too heavy on bracelet, so I would take it direct bracelet and just put it on rubber anyway.
Okay.
But and then the closed case back. I'm kind of weird, irrational about. I don't want my divers to have an open case back.
Yeah.
It didn't ever bother me with the Seamaster, but I don't know. It's just a weird. I know water's not going to sneak in, and I'm
Yeah.
not even in water anyway. But still, it's irrational. And what was the last one? Oh, the acrylic crystal.
Acrylic.
I had a couple watches with the acrylic, and that never really bothered me whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
trying to
Totally.
think if a dial symmetry is a big one. Like some like more dials I just can't. The symmetry and other brands have done it too. The dial symmetry has to be just has to be perfectly symmetrical unless I allow myself to deal with it. And I
Yeah.
have a couple watches that aren't symmetrical and it's fine, but there's certain watches for whatever reason. I think that's probably my biggest one that's preventing me from enjoying a lot of great watches like Christopher Ward's.
So like the Grand Seiko Soko that you had, that was an asymmetric dial.
Yeah,
Did that bug you
that
a
one was
lot, or
fine. That didn't
yeah?
bother me at all because I like
Okay.
I like having the it was functional. I like the power reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Or like the Weiss has the small seconds at the 9. I like that too because it's functional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It
Mm.
doesn't make sense
Yeah.
at all.
Well, little does when it comes to this hobby, but we're really finicky, not finicky,
Yeah.
but persnickety,
Yeah.
persnickety. Torin, any thoughts you'd like to add?
Well, I thought Dave did a great job, and I
Yeah.
think it was nice because I find the points he mentioned are points that I think as you grow as a watch enthusiast, like those are things you start to notice over time. I don't think you pick up on everything right away. And
Right.
because I have the same wrist size as Dave, I really appreciated the first point, like the smaller watches, because to me, I agree with him. Like anything under 40 to me is a small watch. But now that I don't know, I've started wearing a lot more watches that are 38, 39 millimeters with a bracelet, and the comfort is there. I mean, like again, this Grand Seiko, right? It's like my favorite watch right now.
Yeah.
39 millimeters fits me like a glove, and it's really comfortable and still really legible. So I feel like it's really nice because it is kind of understated, but very functional, and it looks great. So I agree with him, like totally, that you can definitely pull off smaller watches. I mean,
Yeah.
I still have some larger watches as well, but the comfort issue creeps up every now and then if you're wearing like some of my larger divers and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
And then I guess the last point with the acrylic, that's one thing I still kind of struggle with internally. Like to me, I associate acrylic crystals with less quality or less luxury to a certain extent. But my mindset has started to change. Like when I did have the moon watch, right? Like the Hesselite moon watch over the sapphire. I mean, I really like the clarity of the Hesselite a lot more. And it was true when I owned the Zin 103. I owned both the sapphire sandwich and the acrylic, and the acrylic was by far more comfortable, partially because it didn't have a see-through case back, and also I just thought the legibility was a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the one nitpick I have, if I was going to say something like that, kind of turns me off. Maybe I pass over some watches. Is I've learned that I really like I like sports watches and tool watches the most, and I like my dials to have lume on the dial. So if the
Right.
watch doesn't have lume, it kind of turns me off. Or if it has like really poor lume and you don't get any sense of orientation, like if they just have like small lume plots like for every hour marker and like nothing to distinguish it,
Yeah.
like that kind of turns me off still. But
That's
I mean,
interesting.
it's personal preference.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, my addition to that would be, I've gotten rid of watches and I've not bought watches because I perceive a lot of people to have them. Um, so the
Like a specific
SPGM,
model or brand?
yeah, specific model usually. Not brand doesn't really bug me.
Okay.
But like the Grand Seiko SPGM 221, after a while, it specifically ate. I actually sold it because it seemed like everyone had that Grand Seiko, the SPGM 221, which is a GMT cream dial with a blued GMT hand. Beautiful watch. I really
Mhm.
shouldn't have done that. I mean,
It's on Instagram all the time.
it is. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And there's really not everyone has that watch. It's such a silly thing that I did. But yeah, basically the fact that I saw it so often on Instagram made me think everyone has this watch, which I mean, first of all, not many people have watches. And then yeah, people say everyone has a Rolex Submariner or everyone has an Omega Speedmaster. Even that is, there's a lot of people who have those watches, but even that is not very rational because there's really not a lot of people who have Submariners and Speedmasters. And if you take that argument and then you add it to a Grand Seiko, a niche Grand Seiko with terrible water resistance, it's thick and it's a cream dial. It's a very specific watch. It's a great watch, but yeah, not a lot of people have it. But I got rid of it because everyone apparently has one, which they don't, and it was a silly thing for me to do. um, Nefarin was mentioning that he actually uses the headlight stuff to remove scratches on clasps.
Huh.
That's interesting.
Nice.
When I'm working on metal, I actually have different metal detailing compound. Um, it's optimum metal polish. So look that one up. That's good stuff too. That was for when I used to polish tailpipes, or the pretty part of the tailpipe. I didn't go way inside or anything, but uh,
I just had a visual of that.
yeah. Dis, hey, it's good to see you. I it's probably not feasible to drop a link right now, but thanks, man, for joining. It's good to hear from you. Um, Paul mentioning it's useful. Yeah, for sure. To clean my spring bars, I actually use. No, I don't. I don't clean my spring bars. That's funny.
What are your thoughts, Sanjay, on what are those? I actually bought one off Amazon. Like, it's not a sonicator, but like you drop jewelry in it. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
It's just
What
soap
are
and
they
water,
called?
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
like soap and water, but it uses like vibrations or like bubbles to like break up.
Ultrasonic. Ultrasonic.
Ultrasonic.
Wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just marketing? Because I bought one, like a cheap one on Amazon, and like it did not do much for my bracelets, to be honest.
No, it's not. It's not just marketing.
Okay.
It's real stuff. Like, if you have a really dingy, really bad bracelet, it'll clean it like you wouldn't believe it. But your bracelet has to be kind of really dirty. You have to
Yeah,
let
I
it get
guess
to that
mine
point.
probably was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, thanks, Dis. But yeah, it is kind of late. Um,
Oh wow! I just looked at the time.
yeah,
Long
flew
one.
by. Good to. Oh yeah, Caliber YKG, saying hi to Dis. Um, all right. Oil Money saying pick a flag. Do you back this weirdo Dutchman or go all in on the Germans? Um, I like them both, and I back the Croatians too. So I don't have to pick one team, do I? um, Dave mentioning that Miota updated the movement to back Torrens point. Let's see. They all hack now. Yakin is the same case as the Casablanca. Okay, just different dials and
Yeah.
hands. Okay, so yeah, missing out on a lot of chat. Oh, this is gonna break my heart. Okay, there's Eric mentioning 221 is a nice watch. Lead designer Kosugi-san's favorite modern GS design. Oh,
Hmm.
did not know that.
Cool.
Yeah. Easy Clayton, yes, Sanjay, be an engineer and manage your boundaries assumptions. Go. uh, we Luke wants this on. We'll have him back on. All right, cool. Guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's watch soup. Sorry for going on so late. Thanks everyone for joining us. VIPs in the chat as well. I mean, everyone's a VIP. It's easy for me to get struck because Eric Strickland's here, Dave is here, and I don't want to be that guy who's respecting people because everyone is equally valuable to me. But I can't help but going like, whoa, Eric's here, whoa, Dave's here, but everyone is super important to me, and I really mean that. It's so good to see you all. So good to see you, Clayton and Torin. I really appreciate that you joined me on short notice. This was a lot of fun. We had some great chats, and yeah. Do you guys have anything coming up this week that you want to plug?
My pod, I had a microphone malfunction, so I did order another one. The podcast will continue, but I'm in a holding pattern. The mic I use broke, and so working that out now.
Yeah. It was a interesting weekend for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had my Sanjay car accident moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you overcame that as
Yeah.
much sooner than I did.
Watches.
Yeah. You didn't lose your favorite watch. Torin just released a great video. I'll let you plug it, Torin. Sorry.
Oh yeah, thanks. No, I put out a review of my Doxa 750T, so please check it out on my YouTube channel, Everyday Watch Guy.
Yeah. Check
I'm going
out
to watch
Everyday
that
Watch
right
Guy.
now.
Yeah. On my list as well. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for joining
plug
us.
anything?
Yeah, how about you?
Sorry?
You?
Do you have anything to plug?
Oh,
Sanjay?
me. Yeah, I forgot. I don't have anything to plug. We'll be doing Saturday night live stream, Tuesday night as well. Holding the flag for Bobby Legs and Amin till they return. So we'll be doing Tuesday night. So this is how it goes. Tuesday night is new releases, and just a watch chat with the guys who can't make it on Saturday nights and Sunday nights, basically. So chatting about new releases. On Saturday night, we usually have a pseudo philosophical topic that we will beat to death, like spring bars. And Sunday is Watch Soup. So we've got 3 live streams going on right now, temporarily. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys Tuesday night. Other than that, I don't really have any reviews planned, but assuming if I get a few hours, I'll usually do a review. Family comes first, and yeah, work is insane as well. So yeah, gotta keep on top of those things. But yeah, that's it for me. So thanks everyone again. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Thanks for